So, good evening to all. Καλησπέρα σε όλους. A very warm welcome to this Sparta Live and Being Peloponnesian joint event. I'm Dr. Chrysanthi Galou, Associate Professor of Archaeology and Director of the Center for Spartan and Peloponnesian Studies at the University of Nottingham. For those of you who may be attending our online series for the first time, we have been running our flagship Sparta Live webinar series in partnership with the city of Sparta since May 2020. And we owe this initiative to the former mayor of Sparta, Dr. Petros Doukas. Our series is an online program of lively workshops themed around the history, archaeology, and legacy of Sparta and Laconia. Today, we have joined forces with our new Being Peloponnesian series, led by our global network of early career researchers, chaired by my colleague, Dr. Ms Thompson, to honor the Greek Independence Day, celebrated annually on March 25th, and to commemorate the start of the Greek War of Independence against the Ottoman Empire in 1821. So I'm co-hosting this very important event with my colleagues, Dr. Georgios Spiropoulos, who is tuning in from Greece today, and Dr. Ms Thompson, who will be taking care of the Q&A session. So Giorgos, would you like to welcome our attendees, both on Teams and on the live stream, and introduce our esteemed speaker, please?
Well, thank you, Chrysanthi, and thank you all for being here. I've seen some familiar names. I was in Nottingham a few days ago, and I'm very happy to see some names quite familiar. Arby and many others who are attending this lecture. So before I actually introduce a speaker today, I would like to say once again that no words can adequately express the extent of my heartfelt gratitude to all members, directors, members of the managing committee, members of the CSPS, whose full sufficiency, unending patience and contagious optimism provide the impetus that launched today's event, and that applies to the previous ones and the ones to follow on its path to realization. So, hello again, I'm Dr. Georgios Spiropoulos, Honorary Associate Professor of Archaeology at the University of Nottingham, and at the same time Deputy Head of the Ephrata for Degrees for Corinthia of the Hellenic Ministry of Culture. Today, we're truly excited to warmly welcome a fellow Archaeologian, Ms Lambrini Karakourti, the Director of the Nafplion Annex of the National Gallery of Greece since 2004. Lamprini Karakourti studied archaeology and history of art at the National and Capodistria University of Athens, as well as conservation of works of art in antiquities at the Technological Educational Institute of Athens. She holds multiple postgraduate degrees, including one from the National Metropolitan University, specializing in monument protection, one in cultural unit management from Hellenic Open University, and another in theory and history of art from the Athens School of Fine Arts. She has actively participated in university archaeological excavations and successfully organized the Sculpture Conservation Laboratory at the National Gallery of Greece. She's currently pursuing a PhD, focusing on the artistic work of Odysseus Phocas, 1857 to 946, and its reception by art criticism. Ms Karakourti has taught history of art, Principle of Art Conservation and Exhibition Design at the Tourist Guide School of the Advanced School of Tourism Education of Rhodes and at the Department of Museology at the University of Patras. She currently teaches cultural policy at the University of Museology at the University, at the University of Patras. She currently teaches cultural policy at the University of the Peloponnese in the postgraduate program on creative writing, theatre and cultural industries. As director of the Nafplion branch of the National Gallery of Greece since 2004, Ms Karakourti has very successfully curated numerous historical and art exhibitions in Nafplion series in Athens and is actively engaged in outreach and public engagement activities, and most recent and striking example being her talk on the diachronic representation of the Greek evolution through art on the auspicious occasion of the celebration of the Greek National Day of Independence, organized by the City of St. Giles and the Embassy of Greece in Belgium. The Greek National Day of Independence is a monument of singular and immense importance, and so today's lecture represents a particularly extraordinary generosity, for which we're all grateful to Ms Karakourti for being here with us. Today she will talk to us about the formation of the Visual Canon of the Greek War of Independence. And so, without any further ado, dear Lambrini, the virtual floor is all yours. Please.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome. I would first like to thank Ms. Chrysanthi Galou for doing me the honor inviting me to speak tonight about the formation of the visual canon of the Greek War of Independence. Ladies and gentlemen, the official memory of the revolution begins to take shape from the first post-revolutionary years and quickly becomes the subject of political negotiation. On September 15, 1844, Minister Ioannis Koletis visited the Margaritis brothers in their workshop to commission a copy of the larger-than-life portrait of Karaiskakis for his office. A newspaper preserved the prominent politician's appeal to Georgios Philippos Margaritis, who had recently returned from their studies abroad. Our history needs to be written. You will write it and bring it to life through your images. Our heroes are dying, and their offspring seek in vain to inspire heroism and patriotism. You must work, for Greece demands its historical art gallery. We certainly do not expect you to produce works comparable to those by French and Italian artists, as our material means are limited and we are at early stage of our development. Yet, we do have our ancestral memories. This statement constitutes the first declaration of the historical role of art in the newly founded Greek state and the duty Greek artists towards the fighters of 1821. In your picture, you can see the portrait of Ioannis Koletis. It is a portrait painted by the Belgian artist Albert Roberti in 1840, when Koletis was ambassador to France. As you can see, he is depicted here with great dignity, standing in his characteristic attire, a red face, a white shirt with a large collar, a black collar-trimmed vest, a fur coat, a pleated skirt, and a striped belt. The elaborate spats, the sword, and the numerous medals on his chest attested to the recognition and honors that have been bestowed upon him. His imposing, serious expression and the landscape on the left with the ancient monument par excellence, the Acropolis, the sacred rock with its Frankish tower, reminds us of and symbolically connect us with a distant past and an ancient glory. This is a very important portrait. This statement that I said, Koletis, in this statement, Koletis emphasizes that artists must preserve the image of those fighters who are still alive, so that they not be forgotten by future generations. Moreover, because had an understanding of the political power of art and the potential pan-national reach of its influence, he lived a lot in Paris, functioning as an unifying agent for Greek society. So he emphasized that art has the power to inspire and by extension cultivate patriotism. With the phrase Greeks have ancestral memories, he distinguishes Greek artists from Philhellenic art production, emphasizing the importance of the creation of a national tradition. It is no coincidence that it is in the 1840s that the practice of making face molds of important national figures was established, such as Theodoros Kolokotronis, Nikitas Stamatelopoulos, Ioannis Makridianis, and others, because the School of Fine Arts, from the beginning of its operation in 1837, was interested in the impression of the plaster cast of the fighters of the Revolution of 1821, on the one hand, to preserve their physiognomic characteristics, and on the other hand, to provide a legacy to artists in order to create their portrait busts. This plaster cast belongs to the collection of sculpture of the National Historical Museum. In the picture, you can see the historical mask were cast in bronze by the sculptor Adriana Vervetis and Konstantinos Dikephalos in the last gate at the 20th century at the workshop of the Athens School of Fine Arts. The picture, the fact that the high-standing patron commissioned a copy of Karaiskakis reveals the institutional role played by these images, a role that only justifies the imposing scale of historical painting, but also accounts for the staged and solemn nature of these images. This picture depicts the hero on horseback, proudly angling his head towards the viewer, pointing his scimitar towards the crowd, while in the background the battle rages and thick smoke rises diagonally into the sky. An Ottoman has abandoned his weapons and war banner and crouches in fear to protect himself from the hooves of the general horse. On the left, the rock of Acropolis with the Parthenon and the Venetian tower can be seen. The iconography model for Karaiskakis' face is inspired by the unsigned drawing of the Bavarian Karl Kratzheisen, a soldier who arrived in Greece in autumn 1826. It is to him that we owe the portraits of the heroes, those of them who were still alive, a series of sensitive matter of fact drawings, which were then lithographed in Munich and circulated widely. Although Kratzheisen's portraits of the heroes were not the only images to capture the protagonists of the war, they went on to become the main iconography sources for Greek historical painting. The overall composition of the work, however, is a reference to the religious icon of St. George the Dragon Slayer, a testimony to the influence of post-Byzantine painting and folk art on the work of Greek artists. In this climate, art was intended to serve a pivotal political, ideological, and above all educational role to preserve the memory of the heroes who through strong and sacrifice achieved independence and gave the nation freedom after a long and painful period of Ottoman rule. It is to Theodoros Vrizakis that we owe Greece expressing gratitude, the representative historical group portrait of the glorious heroes who successfully achieved the independence of Greece. It is an allegorical scene that serves as an active monument to the Greek Revolution in our collective national memory, embodying a spirit of unity that transcends past conflicts and civil divisions. The female allegorical figure shines laurel crowded, gentle and ancient in the center of the composition, liberated Greece personified, forming a cross with her torso. She has her arms protectively outstretched to welcome the fighters, the dignitaries, the military, the clergy, the female fighters, but also the scholars, politicians, and European Philhellenes who all contribute to breaking the bonds of 400 years of slavery. At her feet lie broken chains and a pile of gold and silver coins offered by the Greeks to save a bankrupt state. At the bottom left, the tricolor flag of the revolution, with the white color symbolizing the virtuousness of the struggle, black for death for the homeland and for freedom, and red for the independence of the Greeks. A phoenix is illustrated at the center of the flag, symbol of Greece's rebirth. Greece's feminine figure is organically integrated into the visual language arsenal of national art, associated with motherhood, protection, solidarity, and care, virtues that remain unchanged over the centuries. The Greek artist who drew inspiration from events and personages of the war may well have found compositional and formal models in Philhellenic painting. They may also have embraced the academy romanticism of their European counterparts. Their own output conveys a different kind of emotion and ethos. In fact, some of them had experienced the tragedy of the war, like Theodoros Vrizakis, the leading exponent of Greek historical painting. Leading heroic subjects, such as the exodus of Missolonghi, and the death of the independence fighters, fuel the collective imagination of Greeks with images that forged the national spirit during the 19th century. This year, we celebrate 200 of the exodus from Missolonghi, and this painting won made by Theodoros Vrizakis and won the gold medal at the Vienna International Exhibition in 18 53 is a precious work as it is the only one of the three versions to survive. Μάλλον ξανά πίσω. In this painting, okay, Theodoros Vrizakis is the painter, orphaned during the War of Independence, his father having been hanged by the Turks. He studied in Munich and became a renowned painter specializing in historical scenes. This major work commemorates one of the most tragic and famous episodes of the conflict, the heroic exodus of the inhabitants of Mesologi on the night of April 10, 1826. The composition, vertical and lacking true depth, is divided into two planes, celestial and tellurian. In the celestial section, on the central axis of the composition, we see the Almighty enthroned on a golden cloud, blessing the warriors, while angels brandishing branches and laurel wreaths, prepared to crown the heroes. The Greeks believed that their just wrongs were blessed by Christ. In the Tellurian section, on a wooden bridge, the Greek warriors rush from the ramparts, brandishing their swords. One of them raises the Greek flag, is named Notis Botcharis. A cross at the top of the pole he holds in his left hand. Some have already been wounded. The women and the children follow. Some have already dead, others are struggling. Ottoman forces await the Greek fighters. Some scale the wall with a ladder. The atmosphere is electric, tense, and dramatic. One can almost hear the clash of weapons and the cries of the wounded. The painter has depicted the scene with precision and meticulousness, attentive to the smallest detail. It is a work of romantic spirit, but executed with academic and calligraphic precision. Brownish and golden tones dominate, the main colors being black, white, and red. The fighting at the center of the painting continues to captivate viewers to this day in the Museum of National Gallery, because the high tension, the many details, the dynamism of the slightly meticulous choreography of the bodies and the weapons all give the feeling of defying gravity. The celestial portion of Vrizakis' painting draws inspiration from post-Byzantine folk art, and its composition had already in 1838 been attributed to a drawing from the iconography of Makrigiannis, an authentic monument of folk art predating formally training Greek painters. The drawing in question is God's just decision for the liberation of Greece, in which a divine decision marks the end of the struggle. An angel crowns the kings of the great powers, while another angel crowns the personification of Greece with the helmet of Athena, as well as Otto and Amalia with crowns. Standing severely next to them and those who sacrificed themselves from the strong, clergy, fighters, and the people. The National Gallery, Alexandros Sosas Museum, is proud to hold in its collection Vrizakis' works. Another work, the Karaiskakis camp at Phalliro, vividly evokes the atmosphere that prevailed in the Greek camp on the eve of the Battle of Athens, an attempt to break the siege of the Acropolis by Kutahis troops and liberate the iconic symbol of Greek civilization. The powerful association of this campaign explained the presence of such important Philhellenes and Greek chieftains. In the foreground, the fighters enjoy a moment of repose, an opportunity for the artist to capture it in vivid ethnographic detail. The main scene, with prominent figures of Greeks and Philhellenes, is set on a low hill on which the flag of the uprising is waving. Beside Karaiskakis, you can see Makrianis, Javelas, and Notaras, and some and other Philhellene soldiers. Both of these paintings, the Exodus of Mesologi and Karaiskakis' camp, went on display in major exhibition European capitals, earning prestigious accolades. Lord Byron, the leading English romantic poet who passionately championed the fight for Greek independence and sacrificed his own life, became the ultimate symbol of Philhellenes. His untimely death in Mesologi at the age of 36 on April 19th, 1824, created an overwhelming response that drew attention to the martyr town 2 years before the heroic exodus that was to send waves of emotion through the world, further strengthening the Philhellenes movement. To the great Philhellene poet, Vrizakis dedicated a solemn, imposing painting, dramatically evoked the poet's enthusiastic welcome in early January 1824. In addition to his monumental composition, which serve official purposes, Vrizakis produced smaller paintings of ethnography or idyllic scenes from the life of the fighters. Dionysios Tsokos is another important Greek artist of the early post-revolutionary years who painted numerous portraits of fighters and dying heroes. In the painting titled The Death of Marcos Botsaris, the hero is depicted in the arms of his comrades, gravely wounded. The death of the young man fighting for the freedom of his homeland is identified with the sacrifice of Christ, and this sacred purpose is specifically expressed by the placement of the flag of the struggle at the center of the composition, both a symbol of the homeland and religion, a reminder of the strong against all odds. From a pure morphological, a typological point of view, the rendering of this theme is based on the way the Passion of Christ is depicted, and especially the Deposition and the Lamentation. Historical painting had its heyday in the mid-19th century up until the expulsion of Curator in 1862, a period when it played a pivotal role as an ideological, political, and diplomatic instrument. Over time, the achievement of those Greeks became the stuff of legend. They were now mediated by nostalgia. The pursuit of form, rendering, style often came at the expense of the narrative potential of the image. The naval struggle of the revolutionists is also a common theme in Greek art. The preeminent Greek seascape artist of the Munich school, Konstantinos Volanakis, created the monumental The Exodus of the Ares, which evokes an audacious naval operation. On April 25 of the Ares, which 1825 of the Greek brig Ares, managed by skillful navigation and extreme courage to break out of the blockade by Ibrahim's fleet at Neocastro Bay at Pylos into the open sea. The swift Ares, its sails fully unfurled, the Greek flag waving on the top mast, sails towards the viewer, defying enemy fire by the heavy Turkish vessels, suggested by the dense clouds of smoke. This painting was a royal commission, which accounts for both its imposing scale and conservative, embellished style. To Ivan Ivazovsky, the famous Russian painter of Armenian descent, is owed an epic romantic painting dedicated to one of the most celebrated naval achievements in the Greek struggle for independence. The firing of the Turkish fleet by Karnaris during the night of June 6, 1822, in the port of Chios. The daring feat took the world by storm and made the hero, from Psara an icon for Philhellenes everywhere. Ivazovsky painting is a prime example of upsetting the balance between the narrative theme and the artist's endeavor to capture and translate into painting the magic of a nocturnal event at sea, an opportunity for the most spectacular visual accidents. Indeed, the artist has produced a masterpiece of his genre. The Turkish flagship is aflame in the background, enveloped in a yellow cloud that casts golden reflection of the complementary violence of the sea and the sky. At the same time, the farboat sails away towards the right and is cut off by the frame, making the viewer feel like a witness to the actual events. The painting, inspired by the tragic events of 1824, with the title After the Destruction of Psara, is in the dead of night, in the stormy Aegean Sea, crammed into a boat with the flag flying, the displaced Psarians with their ancestral heirlooms in their hands, fight with all their might to save themselves. The conditions are hostile. The blows of history and fate season. In the depths of the horizon, however, the sky opens and the hope dawns. An extremely expressive and pictorial work which goes beyond the level of simple description. It captures all the energy and determination of the Psarians. The work transmutes into a symbol of fighting spirit, that unceasing and relentless fighting spirit that the defense of values and high ideals requires, with the homeland above all else. At the same time, it highlights the extraordinary effort of every uprooted person to fight and stay alive. This painting is reminiscent of the equally famous romantic painting, The Raft of the Medusa by Theodore Géricault, though it differs radically than in terms of ethos, sentiment, and style. The Christian faith, symbolized by the icon in the priest's hands, the solidarity and compassion conveyed by Jesus, are a far cry from the moral collapse and bitter strife of the survivors of the Medusa. Ladies and gentlemen, this and many other works by 19th century Greeks define the way the War of Independence was visually recorded, perceived, and its memory preserved in the collective imagination and consciousness, thus fulfilling their ideological mission to participate in the formation of the national identity through works of historical painting. Through art, the nation becomes a tangible reality in the eyes, minds, and souls of Greeks. The secret figures of the fighters and their exploits become beacons of patriotism for future generations, and above all invite today's viewer to develop a contemplative understanding of these primary visual sources, with the aim of uncovering the values and worldviews in which they are embedded. In fact, the historical painting was obliged to memorialize, to extol, to idealize, and to promote the Greek War of Independence. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Lambrini. This was such an insightful and informative talk, and you traveled us through the art, and through that, through one of the most important phases of Greek history, and I deeply thank you for that. Would you be happy to answer questions, should our attendees have any? So people, our attendees can actually raise their hands and unmute their microphones and ask the questions, or you can type them in the chat. And my colleague, Dr. Matt Thompson, you can see he's all ready to take questions. So thank you very much, Matt. So Yorgos, do you have a question for Lambrini? If you don't have one, I definitely have one.
Well, I do actually, but I prefer to listen to Matt first, and then well, now Matt is ready to sort of embark on this discussion process. So I don't want to interrupt him. So go ahead, Matt. Lovely to see you, by the way. So
Lovely to see you, Yorgo. I'm just here to coordinate. So if Chrysanthi or you have questions, I would not be a good scholar of Sparta if I didn't make way.
Okay. So Yorgos, would you like to go first, or?
No, it's fine. I mean, because, when Matt appeared, I thought I should let him talk about this. I can do that later. So. But I do wish to thank profoundly Ms Karakourti for this wonderful lecture, because and all this invaluable information she shared with us. I mean, it was something that this is not my area of expertise, but it was definitely a very thought-provoking, perceptive, and authoritative lecture for which no amount of thanks have been done. So, but please, Matt, go ahead. So,
so
the floor is yours. The floor is yours. So, please go ahead. So.
Should we go to Chrysanthi first if you have a question?
Yes, so I would like to ask, so we've seen the portraits of all those, the heroes, and it's very interesting that as opposed to European art, the Greek artists, painters were actually depicting the pain, the tiredness, the effort that those warriors were putting, and this is reflected on their face. And I can see, like, I've done like art history at uni, but I'm not an art historian. Do we have similar portraits and also those funerary portraits of women that fought for the Greek independence? And is this the same kind of like effort and pain and struggle reflected on their faces? Thank you.
Χρυσάνθη, τώρα ρώτησες το θέμα το πώς είναι ο πόνος στο πρόσωπο, δηλαδή πώς διαγράφεται.
Λέω ότι στα ανδρικά πορτρέτα και στην εικονογραφία για τους άνδρες απεικονίζεται αυτός ο πόνος, η αγωνία του πολέμου.
Αυτό ήθελα να πω, όχι. Και στα ανδρικά και στα γυναικεία είναι εξειδανικευμένο το πρόσωπο. Δεν έχουμε πόνο. Είναι the face is inspired with πώς να το πω, από έκσταση, από
ecstatic
heroism, ναι. Μπορείς να, δηλαδή δεν υπάρχει πόνος και οδύνη στο πρόσωπο, ούτε στα ανδρικά πρόσωπα ούτε στα γυναικεία. Είναι ωρεοποιημένα, γιατί μέσα από αυτά τα πρόσωπα χτίζεται η εθνική ταυτότητα, χτίζεται είναι η εθνική μας ιστορία. Δεν υπάρχει, δεν είναι ρεαλιστικά πορτρέτα για να τα δούμε πώς πολεμούν στη μάχη, καθόλου.
Okay, so
και στο The Greece εκεί Express Gratitude θα δεις ότι όλα τα πρόσωπα είναι σαν να πηγαίνουν σε γιορτή. Φοράνε τα καλά τους χωρίς κανένα ίχνος ρητίδα στο πρόσωπο.
Okay, good. So what Mrs. Karakourti says is that we do not see like the pain depicted or illustrated on those portraits. It's mostly the heroism and in an idealized form, which actually shows the attempt for the obtaining cultural and ethnic identity. And even like with Vryzakis, the Paying Gratitude painting was like we see them as going for a celebration rather than coming from war. That's interesting. Okay, thank you so much. Yorgos.
Yes, now I have two questions. I'll be very brief though. Mrs. Karakourti mentions, and that was very impressive actually, that there are no emotions expressed in all these paintings. No pain, nothing. Because simply it's also associated about constructing an identity, an ethnic identity, probably with an eye in the future. So do you actually see any connection between these paintings, these are beautiful paintings, or any influence or any connection between these paintings and ancient Greek art? Where you also, if you also observe ancient Greek art, I'm not talking about Roman art, but I'm talking about Greek art, you also see the faces, you also see the battles taking place, but you see no pain and no facial expressions. do you see any connection between those two? Do you actually believe that these paintings might have been influenced to some extent by ancient Greek art? Where emotions were not expressed?
Καταλαβαίνω τι θέλει να πει, αν υπάρχει αυτή η σύνδεση με την αρχαία όχι, καμία. Η σύνδεσή τους είναι καθαρά, έχουν δεθεί στο άρμα της δυτικής τέχνης και είναι καθαρά πάνω από την ακαδημαϊκή εξειδανικευτική γερμανική ζωγραφική. Οι ζωγράφοι τους είναι κυρίως τα πρότυπά τους Γερμανοί, ο Πίτερ Φωνές ή κάποιοι Ιταλοί. Ο Λιπαρίνι, Ιταλός, δηλαδή κινούνται στην ακαδημαϊκή ζωγραφική, διότι αυτή είναι η δασκαλή τους. Και μοιραία λόγω του Όθωνα, γι' αυτό και όλοι μιλάμε ότι σπούδασαν στο σχολείο του μονάχου, επειδή εκεί έπαιρναν τις υποτροφίες και έφευγαν λοιπόν. Όχι ότι δεν υπήρχαν, κυρίως μετά το τέλος του Όθωνα το 1962, έφυγαν οι καλλιτέχνες και πήγανε και στη Γαλλία και στη Βιέννη και στις σκανδιναβικές χώρες, αλλά ήταν μειονότητες, δεν μπόρεσαν να μετατρέψουν. Δηλαδή μέχρι το 1900, μη σου πω δηλαδή μέχρι το 1922, μέχρι τη Μικρασιατική καταστροφή, είμαστε δεμένοι στο άρμα της γερμανικής ζωγραφικής. Μετά το 20, που έχουμε και τις πρωτοπορίες αρχές του 20ου αιώνα, διαφοροποιούνται. Πάντως δεν έχουν τα πρόσωπα αυτά σύνδεση με τα πρόσωπα της αρχαίας τέχνης.
Okay, so shall I summarize the answer for those people who are not speaking Greek? So what Lambrini, like Yorgos asked whether we see a connection between the Greek painting of the Greek Revolution and ancient Greek, the classical period, like especially for the lack of emotion. And what Lambrini is saying in summary is that they are not influenced by the ancient Greek art, but rather by the academic painting of the German school, in particular Munich, and which actually, you know, I think also because we have this lack of emotion, and also the theme is associated with identity. Okay, so Yorgos, you have the second question.
No, the second question was about the flag. There was a painting you shared a painting with us, and there was a flag, and I can't remember what you said about this flag. It was a flag lying on the floor, and there was also a phoenix, which symbolized rebirth. Can you once again repeat what you said about this flag? You had three colors, I think red and black, and a phoenix that symbolized rebirth, and it was quite impressive. Can you would you be able to share this information with me once again? So,
Ωραία. Αυτή η σημαία καταρχήν είναι η σημαία που σήκωσε ο Αλέξανδρος, είναι της φιλικής εταιρείας.
Ναι, yes.
Okay. Που σήκωσε ο Υψηλάντης στο Ιάσιο.
That's true.
Ωραία. Yeah. Και μοιάζει πάρα πολύ, it's like Ρήγας Βελεστινλής flag.
Exactly.
It has the same colors. Okay. And the black for death, for the homeland.
Okay.
The white color symbolized the virtuousness of the struggle, and the red, the independence of the Greeks.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. So this was the Society of Friends flag, rather than
Yes, yes. Ναι.
But that was very interesting information. That was very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all for me.
Matt, do we have any comments or?
We do not have any questions. We do have Alexandros saying congratulations for your presentation. Clear, engaging, and highly professional. Well done. So thank you, Alexandros. If anyone does have a question, you can raise your hand or use the little or type something in the chat.
This is our fellow Greek and very close friend, Alekos Samartzis. So thank you, Alekos, for being here with us.
So I have a question which is from my ignorance. We saw the Athenian Acropolis once or twice in the background, but we don't see a lot of other ancient images in these paintings. So is it the case that they didn't show images from the ancient world in these paintings a lot? And why might that be the case?
Ωραία. Γιατί υπάρχει αυτό, η σύνδεση?
Γιατί υπάρχει μόνο η Ακρόπολη και όχι και άλλα μνημεία.
Ναι, γιατί αυτό ήταν το πιο δημοφιλές σύμβολο. Ήταν το σύμβολο που μας, η αρχαία Αθήνα. Και η μεταφορά της πρωτεύουσας, το ότι πήγε από τον Ναύπλιο στην Αθήνα, ήταν ακριβώς λόγω της αρχαίας Αθήνας, του αρχαίου κλέους, και αυτό ήταν το γνωστό, ας πούμε, που έκανα το Grand Tour, να πάνε στην Αθήνα, να βρεθούν πάνω στο Ιερό Βράχο. Ακόμα δηλαδή έχουν αρχίσει οι περιηγητές να δημιουργούν τα πρώτα ταξιδιωτικά βιβλία, αλλά αυτό ήταν το σύμβολο, το τοπόσιμο της Ελλάδος.
So the Acropolis was like the landmark of Greece, and it coincides also with the first travelers' descriptions. And this is part of like Acropolis being Greece and a symbol of Greece. That's why they are trying to stress it more than any other monument.
Thank you very much.
Do we have any other questions? I mean, can I ask one last question? Because we have like several friends from Laconia. So from those funerary...
Chrysanthi, can
portraits.
I give a quick question?
Of course, yes. Go ahead, Petros. Yeah.
How accurate are the descriptions of the heroes with the real faces of the heroes, or are there half imagination, half heroic, half truth? Is the Karaiskakis representation close to what he exactly looked like, the Nobotsaris and the others, or is it half imagination, half glory, half reality? Because they're beautiful paintings, they're all 10-star paintings, and in a turbulent time, how can you sit and do such paintings in the middle of cannons blasting back and forth? So it's quite amazing achievement in the middle of the war. So are these close representations of the actual faces and bodies of the heroes? This is my question, and that's it.
Ωραία ερώτηση είναι αυτή. Και βλέπετε ότι υπάρχει αυτή η εικονογραφία τώρα του Κρατσάιζεν. Οι περισσότερες προσωπογραφίες είναι φανταστικές. Έχει φτιάξει και ο Άνταμ Φρίντελ και ο Μπότζι, έχει φτιάξει τις προσωπογραφίες των αγωνιστών. Όμως κινούνται μέσα σε ένα πνεύμα φαντασίας και εξιδανίκευσης, ή μέσα από προφορικές μαρτυρίες που έχουν, τους φαντάζονται και τους ωρεοποιούνται. Σε αυτά τα πορτρέτα όμως του Κρατσάιζεν, που τους συνάντησε και λειτουργούσε ως ένας ανταποκρικτής πολεμικός, τι έκανε? Έφτιαχνε γι' αυτό. Κοιτάξτε, τα πορτρέτα αυτά είναι με μολύβι και φαίνονται οι ρητίδες στο κολοκοτρώνι. Είναι λοιπόν πιο ψυχογραφήματα, πιο κοντά λοιπόν στην αλήθεια. Βέβαια, όταν λιθογραφήθηκαν δεν ήταν έτσι. Πάλι ο ήρωας ήταν μέσα σε αυτό το σύννεφο της εξιδανίκευσης. Είναι ο μοναδικός που τους έφτιαξε εκ του φυσικού. Τους είχε απέναντί του, έφτιαξε με μολύβι το σκίτσο και τους ζήταγε μετά να το υπογράψουν. Ήταν ένα ντοκουμέντο, ένα τεκμήριο αυτό. Έχουμε τις υπογραφές του. Ο Κολοκοτρώνης είναι ο Καραϊσκάκης που έβαλα δίπλα στην προσωπογραφία. Είναι το μοναδικό ανυπόγραφο, γιατί σκοτώθηκε στο Φάληρο και δεν πρόλαβε να το υπογράψει. Άρα αυτά δεν είναι από τη φαντασία, δηλαδή του Κρατσάιζεν είναι πραγματικά πορτρέτα, και γι' αυτό και υπερίσχυσαν στην εικονογραφία των βιβλίων στις αιθουσές μας και πέρασαν δηλαδή στην εποπία των Ελλήνων. Έτσι ξέρουμε τους ήρωες μέσα από τα σχέδια του Κρατσάιζεν, που ήταν πιο κοντά στην πραγματικότητα.
Okay, so I'll just summarize the answer. Most of the portraits are idealized and they do not reflect the real faces of the heroes, apart from the ones that we see now on the screen that were produced by Kratzizer. and he was actually functioning as a war reporter in modern terms, and he would use pencil to draw those paintings, and also then to confirm and verify he had the heroes signing them. The only one that was not signed was that by hero Karaiskakis, because he died before he had the opportunity to sign it. So this is interesting to know, and also the fact that in all schools, like in Greek schools, we have the portraits of those heroes in our classrooms, and these ones that you see here were deliberately chosen because they reflect the real faces of our national heroes. Brilliant! We're learning so much. Like, I didn't know. I spent so many years at school. I didn't know actually that these were those portraits. Like the other way of like saying that these were the real portraits would be probably these funerary masks, or like τα προσωπία. Would this not reflect the real face of
the real
heroes?
face? Είναι τα μοναδικά, the unique είναι αυτά. Αυτά είναι που δείχνουν πραγματικά την ανθρώπινη διάσταση του ήρωα. Μόνο που αυτοί τώρα είναι σε προχωρημένη ηλικία, ταλαιπωρημένοι, άρρωστοι και δεν έχουν καμία σχέση με την εικονογραφία που ξέρουμε μέσα από τους ζωγραφικούς πίνακες. Εκεί βλέπεις την ανθρώπινη διάσταση του ήρωα.
Yes. So those funerary masks do reflect the real faces, but actually they depict those heroes at an advanced age. Therefore, we do not see the idealized hero appearance. And I think also in your exhibitions you have the funerary mask of Ioanna Grafakou from Mani.
Ναι.
Is it not? Yeah.
Ναι, είναι το μοναδικό της, το έβγαλαν τα κορίτσια της.
Her daughters produced that.
Ναι, και το δώρισαν αυτό το εκμαγείο, τιμώντας τη μνήμη της μητέρας τους που στάθηκε βράχος δίπλα στο πατέρα και στην οικογένεια, και το δώρισαν στο Εθνικό Ιστορικό Μουσείο. Είναι το μοναδικό γυναικείο εκμαγείο που υπάρχει.
Okay, so the funerary mask of Ioanna Grafakou from Laconia is the only female one that has been preserved. It was actually taken by her two daughters, which was donated to the National Historical Museum of Greece to honor their mother. And actually, this actually shows the appreciation of the women's contribution to the Greek War of Independence, because we do have the others like Madonna Avrogenous, we have Bouboulina.
Δεν τα έχουμε αυτά.
We don't have those, yes, yeah. Oh, excellent. Do we have any other questions? You can, as you can see, like we have an interactive Greek-English discussion. So if any of our attendees would like to ask a question in Greek, we would be, Yorgos and I would be very happy to translate. I think everybody has been really fascinated by the presentation. It was one of a kind, Lambrini, and I thank you so much, because today you highlighted a side of the Greek Revolution that is not known to many of us, including like Greek archaeologists and historians. And I would really profoundly like to thank you for the time you took to present all this material to us today. So I think we are moving towards the end of our event today. So Lambrini, once again, thank you very, very much. This has been a fascinating journey.
Chrysanthi, I'm sorry, maybe I should remind you of that surprise you talked about at the beginning.
Sorry?
Maybe I should remind you of what you said at the beginning of the lecture about the surprise at the end.
Oh, yes, yes, I will. I just close that, and then, yes, of course, I remember the surprise we have for Lambrini.
Okay, and I am waiting all of you in Nafplion to see together the collection.
Oh, thank you very much. So all our attendees are invited.
We will definitely be there.
So I would also like to thank Yorgos and Matt. And on behalf of the Center, I would also like to warmly thank the City Council of Sparta. And we are very happy that we have today with us the former mayor of Sparta, Dr. Petros Doukas, who was the driving force behind the collaboration between the Center for Spartan and Peloponnesian Studies and of the University of Nottingham and the city of Sparta. And of course, Mayor Vakalopoulos, the current mayor, has been extremely supportive of the work, of our work as well. I would also like to thank the University of Nottingham and our department and the School of Humanities and the Faculty of Arts for their unfailing support of the center and of the series. Media sponsorship by Vachos Radio and Mr. Petros Kapernarakos from MONEY has been instrumental in allowing us to reach international audiences for our series. And from what I heard last time, we are nearing 1 million attendees, and that's a great success. But last but not least, we warmly thank all of you who have attended today's event on Teams and through the Vachos Radio web channel. We will be taking a short Easter break, but we look forward to welcoming you back to the series on Thursday, the 16th of April. And on the 16th of April, our guest lecturer will be Dr. Chelsea Gardner from Arcadia University, who will speak to us on Tenaron in southern Laconia, so MONEY this time. Before we close this event, we remind you that if you're not a member of the center yet and you wish to join our global family and receive our news and event invitations, please email us at csps@nottingham.ac.uk, or you can email directly me at chrysanthi.galou@nottingham.ac.uk. We will be honored to have you joining us. And also, I cannot express how grateful we are to our hundreds of current members, because your support means the world to us. So thank you all for joining us today. Warm wishes for a peaceful Easter. So Καλό Πάσχα to all of you, and to all of you who celebrate, and those who do not celebrate, have a great time and enjoy life. And Lambrini, as I said at the beginning, is a fellow Arcadian and a very close friend, family friend, but also when we talked, she expressed her desire to meet with her old teacher.
Oh,
And we have her with us.
Who happens to be my mom, Lambrini.
Yeah, you're with
Yes,
to
yes.
introduce your
She
mom.
happens to be my mom, so she will come and say hi. If I
Τι
Δεν τη
κάνετε?
βλέπω καλά, δεν σε βλέπω καλά, Λαμπρινή
So
μου.
if people would like to stay, they're welcome to stay, but if you'd like to
Είστε υπέροχοι όπως
go, you can
ήσασταν.
go.
Δεν ξέρω αν με
Ναι,
θυμάστε.
Λαμπρινή μου, μια υπέροχη γριούλα. Τι κάνεις, αγαπημένο μου παιδί, έμαθα, προόδευσες πολύ. Είσαι πάρα πολύ καλά.
Χάρη σε εσάς, εσείς μου ανοίξατε τα φτερά και το δρόμο. Πάντα μιλάω για εσάς, δεν υπερβάλλω γιατί ήσασταν ξεχωριστοί. Εκείνα τα χρόνια στην Τρίπολη ήρθατε και μας ανοίξατε ορίζοντες. Θυμάμαι ακόμα τα μαθήματα που μας κάνατε με τα slides και με μαθήματα ιστορίας τέχνης. Αυτός ήταν και ο λόγος που δήλωσα ιστορικό αρχαιολογικό, ήμουνα η μοναδική τότε. Όλοι πήγαιναν νομική και κλασική φιλολογία.
Σε είχα στη Δέσμη?
Όχι, με είχατε πρώτη και δευτέρα ηλικίου. Στη Δέσμη δεν ήσασταν στο σχολείο, φύγατε.
Είχα πάει στο τρίτο για ένα διάστημα.
Ναι.
Δεν το πιστεύω. I could never actually believe that I would be in a webinar with my mom.
Ο γιος μου, Λαμπρινή,
Ναι, και σας μοιάζει. Χαίρομαι πάρα πολύ και με συγκινείτε τώρα και θέλω και κάποια στιγμή να συναντηθούμε. Είστε Αθήνα, νομίζω. Λουτράκι, ακόμα καλύτερα.
Μπορούμε εύκολα να συναντηθούμε.
Θα έρθουμε στο Ναύπλιο.
Έτσι, στο Ναύπλιο θα τη φέρετε, ναι, και θα τα πούμε από κοντά.
Ναι, κοριτσάκι.
Πολύ χαίρομαι.
Και εγώ σε φιλώ πολύ. Καλό βράδυ.
Καλό βράδυ. Να είστε καλά. Χάρηκα.
Λαμπρινή μου, σε ευχαριστώ.
Αυτό είναι
πάρα
πραγματικά
πολύ.
έκπληξη, Χρυσάνθη.
Είδες, σε αγαπάμε γι' αυτό.
Έτσι, έκπληξα, σε ευχαριστώ.
Να είσαι καλά, Λαμπρινή μου.
Thank you very much.
Πολλούς χαιρετισμούς στο Μιχάλη.
Θα έρθουμε μαζί, Λαμπρινή.
Ναι, μαζί, ναι. Θα χαρώ πολύ το θέλω.
Ναι, βεβαίως.
Καλό βράδυ σε όλους και θα τα πούμε και τηλεφωνικώς και από κοντά.
Βεβαίως.
Ναι, να είστε καλά.
Γεια σας.
Γεια σας.